And tell Miss Wendy that we're all present, and we're gonna have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, and I get the honor of introducing Audrey Cox tonight, who will lead us in the pledge. She's a third grader in Mrs. Rader's class. Her parents are Colin and Shelley Cox. Audrey loves animals, anything, science, reading, learning new things, running, running club, I guess she's part of, gymnastics, playing outside, and being active in her church. Sounds like a pretty solid person. So, Audrey, we're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Ms. Walker, are you ready to take the oath? Are you ready? Okay, whatever. I'll keep one on. I, Lorraine Walker, hereby declare under oath. Under oath. That I will faithfully perform the duties of board seat number 1. Of the Tahlequah Public School District. Number 111035. To the best of my ability. And that I will faithfully discharge all of the duties. Pertaining to said office. And obey the Constitution and laws of the United States and Oklahoma. Obey the Constitution of the United States and Oklahoma. Okay, way to go.
Way to go. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. Glad to have you. You ready? Sean Kaufman, new board member, everybody. I, Sean Kaufman, hereby declare under oath that I will faithfully perform the duties of seat number 5
That I will faithfully perform the duties of seat number 5
of the Tahlequah Public School District number, we'll wait on that, okay.
Tahlequah School District number
111035.
111035
To the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
all of the duties
all of the duties
pertaining to said office
pertaining to said office
and obey the Constitution
and obey the Constitution
and laws of the United States and
and
Oklahoma.
laws of the United States and Oklahoma.
All right. Okay. Okay, now we're going to discuss and vote to approve or not approve the following reorganization of the Board of Education. So do I have a nomination for president? Second that. Any other nominations? Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Okay, Vice President. I make the motion that we continue with Christine Emo. Any other nominations? Any discussion? Ms. Nemo? Mr. Myers? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? Aye. And I on both of those, Wendy. I forget to vote.
I didn't know I was supposed to vote.
Well, I think we do. All right. Appoint the following for the 2021-2022 school year. And this is just a matter of formality. We do this every year at this time.
Yes, these are all the same individuals that served in those same capacities last year.
Okay. Do I have a motion and a second? Do we need to read them out?
Yeah, let's
Go ahead,
yeah,
go
let's
ahead,
ahead.
Ms. Simone.
I move that we appoint the following for the 21-22 school year. Clerk of the Board Brenda Hammer, Treasurer Kevin Dudley, Deputy Treasurer Sabrina Garner, Encumbrance Clerk Diane Adamson, Minutes Clerk Wendy Wallace, Deputy Clerk of the Board Diane Adamson, Deputy Minutes Clerk Megan Lowry, Activity Fund Custodian Sabrina Garner.
So the motion,
I'll say.
any discussion? Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Tigers Roar.
All right, we have several tonight on Tigers Road. And actually, the first one I don't have listed on here, so we apologize for that. But we're going to have Ms. Wilson talk about a student we have here with us tonight, Ms. Julia Lewis.
I am honored to talk about this young lady. We have a real hero in the house, and her name is Julia Lewis. You want to come on down here? She actually saved someone's life in town. Not a school project. It was just she was in town, and do you mind if I let her tell the story of what happened? Because I feel like it's such a big deal. She does go to Tahlequah High School. She also goes to ICTC and is in their healthcare program. So we have to give a shout out to them too, because I think it's amazing. We share students. But when I heard this story, I just felt like you guys needed to know, because sometimes we hear all the negative and we have really awesome kiddos. So I'm gonna let her share her hero moment with you.
Well, I was just driving around downtown and I noticed a man walk up to a truck, and I saw that the guy in the truck was slumped over in his driver's seat. And I told my friend to turn around so I could go see if he was okay. And when I went up to the truck, the guy was trying to wake him up, but I knew he wasn't gonna wake up because he wasn't breathing. So I called 911. And they told me I had to start doing CPR on him. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm actually gonna have to do this. And so yeah, we got him on the ground and I started doing CPR. After the first 30 compressions, his breathing started becoming more normal and consistent. So I held him on his side so that he wouldn't choke on his spit. And then the ambulance
I just needed you guys to see her. She is a hero. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Very proud of you.
Where did you learn your CPR?
ICTC.
So you learned it in school.
Yep,
That's
I'm
wonderful.
certified.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have Mr. Carl Wallace here this evening. They've been doing some great things with our ag program, and we just kind of wanted to meet him and let him talk about some of the great things they've been doing.
I don't know if you understand in a certain place or. I am Carl Wallace, and I'm honored to be asked to come down here. I appreciate Ms. Mashburn inviting me and what have you. I had some of my students to make a little video, and with the thing with the pandemic, everything's different right now. But one of the blessings that we've had is we've had a shop that we could go out there and the students could go out there and work, and we probably put more time in there this year because of that, and being able to go out there and still keep some interest and make some neat things. So. I've got one of these students that it's actually my son that actually did the video, and I'll sit down and hush. One of the things Wendy told me, she said, if you keep it short, you're good. So I'll let you play the video and if you have questions, I have to answer.
Hey guys, I'm Clayton Wallace. I'm here with my partner Hope Berry, and today we're shooting this video to go ahead and highlight some of the projects we got going on in the ag building. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and take my mask down so that you can hear me a little bit better. But of course, we are in the plant room. This is where we're growing our tomatoes, our peppers, all those other plants. Our freshmen and sophomores have put a lot of hard work and effort into these. Getting them started, taking care of them, watering them, We are gonna have a plant sale here in the next week or so, so go ahead and look out for that. Over here, we have a woodworking project that one of our freshmen has been building. And then you can follow me out here to that shop and we'll show you what it is. So right here, we have a set of pins that Tate Bittner and Bryce Anderson have been working on. And then over here, you can follow me, and we have another set of pins that we designed here in the Ag building. Myself and Ben and Sam have been working on these. We've got a doghouse up here that some of the freshmen have been working on, really nice, just got it sold. We got another doghouse up here. And then we have a planter that Hope Berry has been working on right here. Over here we have a chicken box that we are working on refurbishing. So any of the students that want to show poultry in the fall have something to carry their birds in. We have another one of the boxes over here, the bins over here that we designed earlier in the year. You can follow me down here and I'll show you some of the other stuff going on. Right here we've got another table that we've got some boys working on. It's going to be real nice, real big. You can follow me down here. We've got a coffee table down here that we've been working on. And then right here we've got a set of deer hanger that we made several of these early on in the year. We got them sold to a lot of people throughout the community. And then you can follow me out here and I will show you our big project of the year. Okay, so right here's our smoker. We've been working on this a lot throughout the year. We started off with basically a bare drum and a door. And we built it to what it is. We built the table, we put the axle under it, built the box. It took a lot of time and hard work and effort. A lot of sweat and tears went into this, and a lot of us put a lot of work in this. We kind of got to reap the rewards of that last week and got to smoke some meat on it. It was real good. You can follow me over here. Over here we've got a planter. It's our tiered planter for buckets. You plant your plants in the buckets and then they stick right in here. And then you follow me up here to the poultry room. Over here we do have our brooding kits. These are where we keep our older chickens. They're of course the ones that lay the eggs for us. And then we've got our incubator over in the plant room. And then right here is where we raise our chicks. I got one right here, the red chick that we've raised this year. And then as you can see, we've got a lot of projects going on and very little space up here, but we're making the most of it. I really appreciate the support of everybody going on up there. Thank you all for your time.
Anything else, Mr. Walker?
Guys, I would just say we appreciate your support. And, I've only been here for about 1.5 years now. But as much as I try to teach the students, they teach me more. So it has been a blessing, and I appreciate everything you guys do.
Mr. Wallace has done a great job at this time here, so we appreciate it. And one more on Tigers Roar. We have Coach David Walls here this evening. Head girls basketball coach. Everybody knows we had a great season. State runners up, quite an accomplishment. So we just wanted to bring him here this evening to discuss that.
Our program just all the way through. Our freshmen went undefeated. Our junior varsity went undefeated. And then our varsity girls went 23-3 and we're class 5A state runner up. So it was a great year for us, a wild year with, COVID and the weather stopped us for a little bit and injuries and stuff, but I'm extremely proud of our group. Off the court, our team had a 3.8 GPA and we were in the top 10% of class 5A as well. So I'm very proud of them. They're a fun group to coach. They work really hard, so it makes my job really easy. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate our community, because our community during our playoff run into the state tournament was outstanding. Our crowd and our following. I won't forget pulling up to our state semifinal game at Tulsa Memorial, and they didn't open the doors yet. They opened them an hour before tip-off, and our girls got to walk through the gym and up the stairs to the lobby, and we already had about 150 or 200 fans there to greet them, and that was special for them, a very special moment. So that's something they'll never forget, and I'll never forget it. So they were an outstanding group to coach, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Okay, F, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the minutes for previous meetings, March 9th.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I. Discussion and vote to approve or not approve the monthly financial reports, receipt and balance statement, activity account summary, utilities. Ooh, all right. And child nutrition.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Cash balance in the general fund is $7,305,906.79. Excuse me. Page 1. Building fund is at $784,169.98. Co-op is at $82,961.43 in the rears. And the sinking fund is at $2,322,939.44. I have it on good information that we have or will receive a co-op payment sometime this week. So again, we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Collections for general fund, page 4, $3,248,173.82. In the building fund, $7,092.94. Nothing in co-op, nothing in the bond, and in the sinking, we collected $33,795.40. Payroll expenditures for the month of March, $2,286,343.77. And in accounts payable for both building and general, $383,022.77. Any questions? I'm gonna say the utilities for last. Activity account cash balance is $670,340.89. CDs are at $256,958.69 for a total of $927,299.58. Any questions?
I like pictures and I like colors, so I thought that might be a little bit of help, and sorry, boss, I know you're fully behind. You get one anyway.
That's all right, I call it.
So I worked this backwards and forwards and upside and down to come up with the best way to show the actual totals versus prior year by month. It's really hard to take this year, compare it to last year, and call that even close to apples and oranges. So I went ahead and did the third year, so you can see pretty good difference between 2019 and 2020. Somewhat of savings, but then from, of course, 2020 to 2021, we take a huge leap. Our actual gas bills for March of 2021 were 4.81297, I believe is the actual percentage, but basically 4.8% higher than in previous months and previous years. We have been told that we should expect another increase for our next payment, and even possibly a third, maybe whittled down a little bit, but right now they told us to be prepared for 3 months of that high.
Did they say why?
The cost of from the third party vendors was costing them extra money, because others around them were increasing, they increased. There was a
That's the
survey.
same story that we've all got, but supposedly we're supposed to go back, this rate increase was only for, what I was told, for 1 month. So why are we seeing a second and a third month?
I don't know, but I received an email from them to anticipate approximately a 4.5% increase plan for that for 3 months. They didn't really offer any other justification than just that they could.
Did they say that this was, that what we had this month was only a partial of a bigger deal and they're spreading it out?
This was our actual, all of our meters totaled up for payment. This is for usage in the month of February into the first part of March. So we will have usage for the next part of March and into the first week of April due in May.
Well, it seems to me that someone owes an explanation of why this is gonna continue for 2 more months when we're actually not using gas now.
And that's a very good, that's something very good to talk about, because you can see in the previous years, we dropped down into the less than 20,000, less than 15,000. So again, we're anticipating that we will shut down or we won't be using a lot of that natural gas that they're expecting that we might. So we can hope and pray for a really nice, warm spring. Because that will shut down the heat, shut down a lot of the hot water tanks, if necessary, but they just didn't really say anything specific.
And who is they?
The person at the contact office at the Northeastern Oklahoma, I don't know what NOPFA stands for.
Because when I talked to them, they said next month, it's just a 1-month deal, they said.
We
And
can,
next month, it should be right back to where we were before.
we were told that if we were on direct deposit, we needed to be prepared to not expect that to be drawn, but that it would require a manual check, and we already do a manual check. So that wasn't an issue, but they did say they were taking that off for 3 months.
I think there's going to be a meeting, look this up, of the NOPA board, maybe next Monday.
Yes, I think you're correct.
And it might be a good idea for people to show up, but from what I understand is that bad weather was coming. They didn't order the gas ahead of time at the regular price, basically didn't plan for it, and then ordered on days when the gas prices were out. So they paid the maximum. Of course, our tax didn't increase.
Chuck, make that first time in your classroom.
No, that's not sometimes different, but
We'll wait till next month and see what it is. At that point in time, I guess
are we going to pay this out, or are we going to?
I will probably just take care of it in the fiscal year. And I'll kind of address it a little bit with some of our federal funding. We're able to use some of that to cover some of those expenses. So even though it's not good, it's very fortunate that we have that at this time, and it won't cause a general fund hit. So we never want to spend that much money on utilities, obviously, but if any time it needs to happen, now is probably the best time for it to happen. So.
I was gonna say, Sabrina actually filled out a survey that got sent to us by HOSA or OSSGA, one of the 2 groups. And 122 schools had responded, and there was nobody that missed this. I mean, it hit every school district across the state. They actually added a couple of 0 stars, so ours looked like 9 million in the first round. We got that fixed, but yeah, she did a survey, and everybody in the state is concerned about the increase. So to have the meeting, the one thing that we had the advantage of is we didn't have a third-party vendor payee, so hopefully that saved us just a little bit. Again, I can't predict what they're gonna do, and I don't think they know for sure either.
It turns off our heritage numbers now though, because they didn't have any gas, so now they don't look bad.
It will take away from some of the things we could do with the CARES Act.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I mean. I mean, it's still money spent. But I'm just saying in the scheme of things, if we didn't have that money, then that would be money out of the normal budget. So it's not good by any means, but if we had to pick a time to do it, now is fortunate that we have that other money coming in, so.
Did have we paid this yet or?
Yes,
I knew for individual customers, they were offering like a
three out.
three payout. I didn't know if they offered that to commercial.
I don't believe they offered it to us. I think if we had contacted them or reached out, I think they would have let us do that. The bill is, all of our bills are so crazy because some of this goes back to late January through the end of February. They've always been off. We've tried and worked really hard to get them to be on the same cycle every year. And it just seems like we add another building before we can get that cycle figured out. So we have about 5, maybe 6 different due dates, but they let us pay by the 15th. So we paid this last week before the 10th. And they told us to be prepared for next month and the next month. So again, we can hope for something better.
Thanks for preparing this little chart for us.
Oh, you're
That was
very
nice.
welcome. I also have to add, I will be attending my daughter's doctoral graduation in the University of Alabama. Hopefully, they'll make a decision what day they're going to do that. So anyway, I'm just really proud of her. She's a student of this school district all the way from pre-K up through 12th grade. So
What is her doctor again?
she is, you would ask me that.
I'm sorry.
Strategic communications and statistics. So, yeah, Mr. Pack knows. Mr. Bradford, just Lacey was one of her teachers. So proud of that girl.
That's great. Congratulations.
Dana?
Good evening. Welcome, Ms. Kaufman.
Thank you.
I'm Dana Dobson, the Child Nutrition Director. So in the month of March, there were 16 service days. And we served 17,003 free breakfasts, 28,643 free lunches, and 7,415 free suppers. So pretty good. We're on the summer countdown now, and we're starting to plan and prepare for our summer feeding program, which will begin June the 1st, and it will run through July the 30th. Again, any child 18 years old and younger this summer can receive free meals, a breakfast and a lunch every day. We'll serve breakfast and lunch daily to summer school participants at Greenwood and Sequoia. We will also continue to do curbside service and deliver from Cherokee. Curbside service at Cherokee, delivery to Fox Mobile Homes and Garden Walk Apartments still this summer. However, this year during the summer, our curbside and delivery will be once a week on Thursdays, and the kids will receive 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches one time a week. And again, this summer, we still have the waiver in effect. Children do not have to be present to pick up the meals, which makes it nice. Parents can come and pick it up for them. Other than that, we're doing our training. Child Nutrition's doing their training we got lots of training to do this month. But other than that, we're just preparing for the end of the year and the beginning of summer. Does anybody have any questions?
Curious if you guys have heard anything about the next school year, if they will still be doing all free lunches.
Well, it was gonna be cut off on June 30th. Well, they've extended it to September 30th now, but they don't know if that means at the beginning of school until September 30th, we can offer free meals. So basically, the answer to your question is no, they haven't told us yet. The State Department doesn't know. We're waiting on USDA. It's frustrating because I know everybody wants to know, but no, they haven't told us yet.
Very
Anything
blingy mask. I like it. What blingy, I don't know if that's a word.
Oh, blinking, yeah.
It's distracting.
These masks are like wearing earplugs, because for some reason with
Yeah.
the mask on, I can't hear very well. All right, anyway, child nutrition, we rock and roll.
All right. Principal and directors report. Oh, I guess we do need to vote on that.
Move to approve the monthly financial reports.
Go second. Okay, any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Now we'll have principal director's report.
Obviously, a big topic across all schools is learning loss of students. Last year, we were letting out in March, and this year being kind of normal, but then again, not normal. There's a lot of distance learning thrown in there. So I've had Ms. Master, Ms. Mike Cap, and Ms. Jones kind of talk about our summer program, some of the plans that we have in place right now. As we head into summer, we have complete list of everything that we're looking at the moment. Thank you, ladies, for presenting tonight.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good evening and can breathe in this. Randy's trying to fix the air. I guess I'm in a sweater, I'm too hot. For our middle school, I'll start with those grade levels. In visiting with Ms. Keys, in designing her program, she's inviting about approximately 115 6th through 8th grade students and that are current, and about 30 students that are the 5th grade students. We're going to try to transition our 5th grade. We're going to try something different where 5th graders usually in summer school attend at the elementary. We're going to have them go ahead and be on the middle school campus and try to do some things that might get them better acclimated to that site and maybe do some special things with the parents. Of course, we'd have to be masked. We'd have to do that, but we can maybe do some things where they can come in. Approximately 2/3 of the students that she invited have been virtual students, and they have failed at least a quarter or a semester. Right now, of the students that are being successful, she started out with 270 virtual. We're down to about 66 in her notes, and about 10 of them were truly successful with all A's and B's. So we're going to take that and we're going to try to build some supports in. She's going to go more with a hands-on project-based, applying math and reading skills. She has got different programs. We're going to work on remediating through computer-based, through those projects, and just really try to make it a time where students can get some one-on-one individual help. And we've got big ideas. We've got Read 180. We've got all different kinds of things that we're going to do. But the project-based, kind of trying to apply it to some STEM project or something. Her group of teachers is working on what they want to do for the students. It's only in the month of June. Middle school is 4 days a week. It's from 8 to noon. High school.
Do they run buses for that?
I'm sorry.
Do they run buses for that? Or
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And yes, they'll run them for all of that. So they're going to be, trying to get those targeted students and get those buses to get the students there. In the high school, every summer they look at credit recovery. And, they truly just look at who's needing credits to go ahead and pass or to graduate. In the past, it was $100 for a half unit. So you could get 2 half units in the summer. Everything will be free. It is open to 9 through 12. We're not going to charge students. We are going to use the same program at Mentum that we're using, which is a tough program, but we have found through working in that program, there are some strategies that the teachers are developing where students need to take notes and other things like that to be more successful. So we're going to have, right now, we've had several, we don't want to sugarcoat it, but we don't want to say, we're not bashing something. We're in a pandemic. We just are trying to get out of a pandemic, and we've had some learning loss, and we've had some students not recover from some of that learning loss, but they're coming back. They put them into credit recovery. Right now, I think there are 47 courses, because individual courses, there was probably roughly about 400 individual courses that were failed for not a credit. already in that first semester 47, this semester 47 plus another 50, so they're getting about 100 of those. They're really paying attention to the seniors, of course. And so with those seniors, there are 57 seniors that are struggling right now, and they might only be struggling in one course, maybe some with two. And, we expect some of our seniors will walk, but they won't get their diploma until they make up for the summer. But that has happened in the past before. That is nothing new to a high school setting. But the teachers have worked so hard, and the staff has worked so hard, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity. And theirs will also be 4 days a week, and they will have those opportunities to have. We're going to always have a math teacher there. That seems to be the toughest of the content areas, and always try to have a math teacher there available to help, and then some of our other teachers to get them through reading and science and social studies. So that's kind of where we are right now, and addressing our secondary learning loss.
Share just a little bit of data with you. I just gave you a little bit because it pretty much all looks the same. So I didn't want to depress anybody. So what you're looking at, this is reading, and I gave you winter data from 1920 and winter data from 2021. We didn't have spring data for 1920, and we're not completed with spring data for 2021. So this is a good comparison. So what you're looking at is a percentage of students that were above level, the students that were on level, the students that were below level, and then the students not tested. So just glancing at that, you can see the on-level kids, there wasn't a drastic drop or change in most of those. But also, if you look at the above level, those took a big hit in 2021. And the below level, those obviously are the ones that took the biggest hits. So that kind of establishes the need for summer school. So we're blessed, and Tanya will tell you how we're going to pay for this. But I'll just start with pre-K, and really I'm just going to touch on that to say we are going to have a program there, and Tanya will tell you all about that. Elementary will be K through 4, like Deanne mentioned. 5th grade is going to go up to the middle school. So K through 4 will be held at Greenwood, and it's 8 to 12, and then they will have an afternoon program, which Tanya will talk about. I'm just telling them what you're talking about.
I'll make a list. Got it. Check.
They will have transportation to and from school, but if they stay in the afternoon, it'll be parent pickup. We will also have a gifted and talented program, which Daniel will talk about. And we've had the summer arts program in the past, and we will do that again this year. That is the only thing that students pay for, and that is because they have to buy the rights to the play. Whatever they're going to do, they have to purchase those rights. And it is for students going into 3rd through students going into 8th. During summer school, Ms. Rogers, it's the principal at Greenwood, will be there to handle the academic part. And then Tanya will have some 21st century people there to help also. So right now, we're looking at, of course, the biggest need will be kinder and first because of those skills. And they will do a lot of guided reading through science and social studies. And they can't do that for 4 hours, so they'll probably do two and a half hours and then flip to math. They will have some hands-on science projects, but not a lot. Because as you can see from these numbers, we feel desperate. Our teachers have worked and worked and worked, and I was pleased when the winter numbers came in, really, because I thought it could be much worse. They were devastated. They had worked so hard, and it was what it was. But they've worked hard, we've all worked hard, and I keep assuring them that we've done all we can do, and we have to accept what it is and just keep working to get where we're going.
So we're blessed to have teachers that even want to teach summer school because they're exhausted, as you can imagine. But we've had quite a bit of interest, and I think we'll be able to cover all the sections that we need in the K through 4. Any question about academics?
Who will do the summer arts program?
Amy Wright is kind of in charge of that. And I believe her assistant will help her this year. In
Okay.
years past, sometimes Michael Peters has, but I think this year her assistant will be helping her.
Okay.
But she always takes care of getting the enrollment out to the county schools and advertising it. They come here to pay their fee, and then they report to the middle school. And they're mostly in her classroom and at the Performing Arts Center.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
You know, I'm just curious on these numbers if there were, I assume this is all students, so this is in-person and virtual students.
Yes.
You guys, I mean, for the kids that were there, you know, they had some distance learning days and we had some closed out days and, you know, obviously the pandemic as a whole, but
Right.
do you have a sense, is this because of virtual learning? Is that?
I think it's all the above. I'm sure you've heard the statistics on DHS reporting being so down. We had a very big need for social and emotional when they came back. So I attribute a lot to that. I attribute a lot to them missing from March, you know, till we came back, because in that spring is the big push, especially for kinder and first. And we try to have all their skills taught by them, so then they just spend those last 2 months really mastering those. But I think between the loss of academics, the starting out of many virtual kids in those levels, we had 31, 32 at pre-K level. So, you know, kindergarten and first grade were just, they had devastating numbers. But it is what it is. You know, some of those kids are raised by great grandparents and that have health issues and they don't have a choice. But we will try to serve the lowest that we can get to come and the ones that desperately need to be there. But that's pretty much what I attribute it to, is just the lack of everyday education.
What about retention rates? Have
They are just now starting to work on retentions. And, you know, they look at a myriad of things, their performance, how old they're going to be when they hit the high school, because we don't want them to drop out. If we retain them, can we fix the problem? If we can't fix the problem, then we don't look to retain them. And by that, I mean, if that child comes to school every day at 11 o'clock, we're not going to fix that. So we try to retain the smallest amount as possible, because I'm sure you're familiar with the research that they don't retain that for a long time. I disagree somewhat in kinder and first, because if it's a reading ability and you take them from being on level and not being on level, that's huge. So that's where we try to focus our biggest efforts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'll turn it over to Ms. Jones to fill in the rest of the puzzle.
I was making little check marks on what I needed the gaps, so I'll be the closer. She mentioned the pre-K program. Of course, we are very fortunate in our district because we have 3 21st century grants. And Sean, those are after school grants. Since you're new, I don't know if you know what those are here, but we are the only district in the state to have 3, or to ever have 3 at the same time, which is kind of like juggling, but it's a good juggle and it's a good problem to have. So these programs mostly will be funded through that. The pre-K summer school or summer camp will all be funded through the 21st century grant, as will Mashburn's middle school program, because that's our grant 3, and that's pre-K and TMS. Our grant 2 is Cherokee and Heritage, which will help pay for Anita's academic portion that will be housed at Greenwood. And then grant 1 is actually Briggs and Cherokee. So that will help us, and then we'll help Briggs have their summer school. We also use funding from Indian Ed. We keep about $100,000 of our Title VI grant to help pay for after-school tutors. Because of these 21st century grants, we've had a lot of money freed up in the last few years. So it's going to allow her to do whatever she needs to do at the high school level. And then as Anita is able to enroll these kids that she knows that need to be there, we'll be able to supplement the 21st century grants with Indian Ed and pretty much do this without having, we hope, a hit the general fund at all. Don't quote me, Mr. Ashlock, I might ask for something. We also partner with Boys and Girls Club. She mentioned that a little bit. So in the afternoon, at all 3 sites, actually, middle school will offer it for kids who will stay. Sometimes it's a struggle getting a middle school student that wants to stay at school all day. But they come in the afternoon, and Boys and Girls Club of Tahlequah offers a program, more of an enrichment type program for the afternoon for those kids who do need some type of full day activity. Our pre-K, we will do 2 different types really in one. We'll have the traditional 8 to 12 where a parent can, the child can be there for a few hours, have lunch, then go home. But we also will offer full day care. And the thought in that is that with 4-year-olds, it's pretty hard for a mom or dad to come home from, or grandparent or great grandparent to come home from work, pick them up, take them home and drop them off. So we knew that full day care was going to be very important. So we'll be able to offer that to those students that, again, that she has worked with her principals, and we'll target those students who we know need to be there first. We do that for about 100 students at Greenwood for the elementary students. Usually we fill that up really quickly. More would stay if we were allowed. We just can only serve the number of students Boys and Girls Club could pay for. We do have transportation, like she said, in the morning and at noon. We do not have transportation in the evening. And food, Dana feeds them, so they get breakfast and lunch. Those who stay, we cannot do the summer feeding, and Dana is not in the room. I won't talk intelligently to this because I don't know what little letters she uses, but because of the summer feeding program that we will be on this summer, she can't do supper. So what we will do is work with the Boys and Girls Club of Tahlequah, and we'll provide some type of snack for any of those kids who happen to stay all day. She also mentioned Javits, and that's another grant that we have in our district. That is our Gifted and Talented grant. So what we are doing with that is we will have 3rd graders for a week, 4th graders for a week, and 5th graders for a week. And that will be housed at Cherokee, and they will do a curriculum called Camp Invent. And that is fully funded through the Javits grant through the State Department. Anything else? Any questions?
That's awesome.
Lots of good stuff. I'll hijack this just to say, if you have not seen the Tahlequah Daily Press yet today, there was a wonderful article written by Sherry Gord about our outreach center. If you've not visited it, please come see it and check it out and see all the good things that we've got going on there.
Amy, did you mean that Javits is at Cherokee?
I meant Greenwood. I may have said Cherokee. It has been at Cherokee for many years. That just floats. I apologize. Greenwood. We'll be at Pre-K's building, Greenwood's building, and the middle school, and then whatever high school recovery.
Thank you. What was the camp?
Camp Invent. It's a curriculum, STEM-based curriculum that we have about $20,000 we were able to spend on materials for our GT program. A big portion of that will be used for the summer enrichment program, and then they also paid for our teachers to come teach the camp.
You want to talk about their training? I think that's awesome.
With Javits. So I was in a meeting with Ms. Walker this morning. We talked about the K-20 Center. The Javits grant is something that the State Department wrote. It's a federal grant that our state received, and they were able to choose a few districts to work with. And Tahlequah was one of the ones that they reached out. There were 4 districts that they work with, and this is we're going into the last year of the grant. All the other school districts have dropped out except us because it's kind of changed over the years. But started out as a lot of PD for our teachers through the K-20 Center on writing 4E lessons and just good practices, identifying GT. It's to help with the underrepresentation of other ethnicities or poverty students in the GT population for our district or anywhere. So we've been doing that for a few years. This year, it's really kind of turned into looking at our GT program as a whole. So it's really put a lot of people in the room to look through our practices, and they're helping us write a a GT plan that's going to cover everything we need from pre-K through 12 and making sure we're identifying all the students that we need to be identifying, and all different types of students are being identified. So our teachers have got some really good professional development with it. Again, we have one more year on that. So one more year, we'll get to do the summer camp with that. But we're always looking for other things to apply for. So since we have started it, it's been very successful. And I think it's something that our district and our families will really want us to continue with. So we'll just have to search for funding to make that happen.
Thanks.
Thank you all for presenting. Appreciate it.
Superintendent's report.
All right, each of us. First off, just like to look at the topic. We're happy to have you here. Great group of board members. We look forward to many nights with you. Fun-filled times ahead. So
Excited.
Let's see, off my list, just kind of a side note, so you know, next month I'll have each of you a document prepared that shows your board points for training to this point. That way you'll know where you're at. And then we'll also have some information for the summer conference, OSSBA. So I'll be able to give you those dates. We can start planning for that. So just kind of a heads up on that.
I got the flyer, but I can't remember. Is it in person?
Yes, it will be. All right, the COVID update, been very good since the last board meeting. We've had 2 positive cases in the district. Both of those students had not been on campus for quite a while, so no quarantines resulting from that. So we've had no quarantines since the last time that we've met. In all, we have 147 total cases for the year, 1,692 quarantines. Just a little note on the CDC guidance, it changed to 3 feet for the quarantine, which we haven't had to do any of that, but that was one positive change that they made, as long as masking was still in place. And our policies have still stayed the same as far as masking. I've talked to board members individually. Kind of my thought is, we started the school year that way, even though the numbers are low, especially getting down to the end of the school year. I would hate to change something and then kids get quarantined for graduation or whatever the case may be, and it to be our fault because we lifted that requirement. And I think it's still the safest thing to do. Once we get close to summer school, I think we'll have a discussion with the board and we'll see if we're going to continue the same protocols or if we want to change them just a little bit. And then obviously when we start to come back to school in August, we'll have the board visit about that again and decide what approach we're going to take when the kids come back then. So still a little bit of time between both those 2 dates, but we'll look forward to that. We did complete our second round of COVID vaccines for the staff, and all 197 staff members took advantage that day. I don't have data as far as who went and got shots on their own, but 197 out of our 500 got their shots on the days that we provided. Shifting just a little bit, ESSER funding, we've been talking about tonight as far as the federal funding that we're receiving. That's what we're talking about, the CARES Act and then ESSER funding. ESSER is elementary and secondary schools, emergency relief, I think that's what it stands for. Basically 2 rounds on it, and I have the numbers there for you, 3.6 million for ESSER 2, and then we don't have 100% confirmation on ESSER 3 yet, but it looks to be about 7.9. Just a note there to the side, we do know the requirement of that is going to be 20% spent on learning loss for academic, social, and emotional needs. And a big caveat on that, the biggest pot of money, we talking with Tanya the other day, where they're still writing the rule book as far as what you can and can't spend it on. So that's, we know we're going to get that money, but we're not ready to spend it yet, but we're trying to make plans for some of it. So there's a lot of moving parts as far as that goes. A few of the things, that we can kind of say that we're going to commit to, obviously number one, we'll vote on a bonus tonight. The total cost there is $1,091,796,000. Cost there. I'm working in, I've had Diane, as we work through, to try to find about, when we talk about utilities and those things, find about $1.5 million of utility bills, lease payments, staff that we would normally pay out of general fund. And then we're just going to pay that out of the federal funding for the purpose of kind of creating a cushion in our carryover for the next few years. We'll kind of talk about a few things that may affect that state money coming up in the next couple of years. And on the second page on the back, if you kind of look at it, some of the things that we're looking at, And again, this is just a small portion of where we're headed, but we've been having some meetings trying to figure out the best things to do. At the secondary side, you can see we're kind of not 100% committed, but that's our list of it right now. And we're going to spend it, that's where we go. We're looking at moving the district for just about every classroom to have an interactive panel in their classrooms. I think we've maybe bought 40 or 50 to this point. This will allow us to accelerate that. We're looking at getting over 100 for our secondary and elementary sites. You see water filling stations. The positions that you see there as far as literacy teachers and coach and paras, a lot of these individuals were employed through the district on grants in the past, and some of those grants are going to be coming off the books. Traditionally, the grant comes off the books. You either got to lose a position or you now have to take a hit to your general fund. With this money coming in, we're going to be able to extend those positions for another couple of years, and then hopefully at that point in time we can find another grant somewhere and then kind of work those positions in. So we try not to include a lot of new positions in this federal money or any kind of purchase that's going to increase maintenance costs, anything like that. That way we don't have a lot of expenses on the back end, from the windfall that we're getting there. So we're trying to be careful and thoughtful about that. You can see some STEM tables, some outdoor tables. At the high school, a large amount for science textbooks, and that will be on top of our normal allocation. Some extra money that we'll put there. At the elementary, water filling station, some science textbooks, some furniture, reading training, literacy coaches in those positions, the same as we talked about in secondary. Some of the larger ones, and these aren't, we're not ready to purchase them yet, but these are kind of the ones that have kind of bubbled to the top as of right now through our conversations. Our district server core, and I can't speak real intelligently about that, but we'll be looking to replace that for the entire district and also updating our wireless network. Once we get to the point of ready to actually purchase, I'll probably have Mr. Batson tell you what all we're doing, and I won't even pretend to know what he knows as far as that goes. We're looking at replacing the district phone system. It's very old and outdated. On our list there. Looking at, as far as transportation goes, anywhere from 1 to 3 buses, maybe one regular bus, maybe a new special needs bus, maybe a smaller bus. We haven't really decided yet, but we do want to kind of outright purchase some of those. We're looking at starting a replacement cycle on our SRO vehicles. Part of our contract, we do have to provide those vehicles, and some of them are getting kind of older and kind of rough for wear. So we're looking at replacing 3 there through this, and then trying to get on a 1 per year cycle until we have them all replaced out. And currently the city's providing 2, and so they don't complain, but obviously they would like to have their 2 cars back, and we can put cars there. So we're looking at doing that. We'll be able to have all of our SROs in our vehicles at that point, and we'll also be able to keep, just replacing 3. We'll be able to keep 1 kind of a spare in the backup. Break down and need 1. Right now, we're looking at probably over 40 different HVAC replacements as far as units in the district, upgraded filters for those, energy management software, some air quality monitors for the buildings. Something that we will do, Mr. Jones is working with some companies to get some accurate prices on this, but roof replacements throughout the district. We're looking at using some of this money to hopefully every roof in the district to be not new, but everything that needs to be fixed and replaced with this money. That would be one of our goals to do. So that's kind of how it is there. Anyway, I don't have it listed here, but one thing we have discussed, Nemo's question he'd asked about the free meals next year. We have contemplated using some of that money to just as a district provide free meals next year for our students if the state or federal government doesn't allow us to do that. So that is high on our list of possibilities, things that we may do with that money. Again, it'll come back to, is that allowed? If it's not allowed, can we pay for something else with it? And then can we use the general fund to pay for that? So it's just it's a money puzzle that we're trying to work through all that stuff with. But that's kind of a short overview of what we're looking at with the ESSER funding right now. Legislation update, kind of 2 important bills that affect us. Senate Bill 783, that's the transfer bill. Basically, the thought on their end behind it is to make it easier for a student to transfer to any district that he or she would like to. We haven't dug into it real far, but we are required to establish a capacity, which basically we have to post how many kids that we can take as a transfer for every grade level. And to this point, that's a very difficult science, so I don't know exactly how we're going to get there, because we have people enrolled in the first day of school, the second week of school that are in our district that we didn't know about. So being able to put an exact number on how many transfer kids that we can take at any one point in time, I'm not gonna lie, I still don't know exactly how we're gonna get there, but that is something that we do have to work on and have that ready. There will be reports and audits that we have to submit to as far as that. And then also, normally the appeal process stops with the board. If something happened, a parent didn't like, we didn't approve a transfer, they could appeal to me, they could appeal to the board, and that was the last say. Now the last say is the State Board of Education. So if you guys deny something, they can now appeal to the state board, they can overturn your decision, and tell us who we have to take here. So not super popular amongst school leaders, but the fact is it's on the books and we now have to conform. So we'll do our best to do what we can with it. The other is House Bill 2078. This is regarding the funding formula. The big thing this does, this removes a 3-year high. My time here, I've talked about that a lot because that's kind of one of the budget tools that any superintendent can use. You can monitor your enrollment, and then you can plan for 2-3 years from now. Now it's taking away the 3-year high protection. You're just going to get funded off your current year, the last year. So it's, for any district that has fluctuations in enrollment, it's going to be very difficult to staff at the beginning of the year. You could see a drastic drop, and you could make cuts in staff and not hire back positions, and then a month later in the school, your enrollment goes back up, and it's very hard to hire teachers in the school year. So this is another one that, on the face, they sell it as there'll be more money because they're funding the actual number of kids in school that day. But the average of the 3-year really, it was one of the saving graces for many school districts throughout the state. And even for me to be able to look and not have a knee-jerk reaction if we have a drop in enrollment in a certain year. We can say, well, we attribute it to this, so we're going to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months into the second year and see if we're still on that same track. But now it's going to require us to make course correction sooner than we would like. And I just worry that sometimes that course correction may be wrong, but at the same time, it's here and we know how to deal with it. So we'll do the best we can with it.
It seems like that's a double, right? If you have to use your enrollment from last year, plus you have to, under this open transfer, you may get a huge influx of students. So it may be like that you're almost doubling your per student loss.
Nobody who ever planned for the first day of school in August wrote this bill. I can tell you that. But yes, they kind of a double hit there. But again, we'll do the best we can with it. And I kind of come back to the federal funding. We're down, I think, 104 kids as of today compared to this day last year. So, and this doesn't take effect till July 2022 as far as it goes. But in theory, that would be our new funding number. So we would start the year, 102 times 36, 3,700 kids. That's a big hit all of a sudden. So we weren't happy when those went through, but again, we deal with them as we can.
These bills have been passed and signed.
Yes, the governor signed both of them. So they're our new reality. Finally, I'm going to have Ms. Mashburn and Ms. Wilson. They've been doing all of the hard work and the groundwork on visiting with NSU as far as our graduation protocols. What we do have graduation there, so I'll let them kind of fill you in. And again, it is us, but we have to conform to NSU guidelines. So there's really no give or anything to vote on. This is just what we have to do.
So like last year, the first year that we had to change our graduation, and remember we had to do it in July, and we're still going to have our graduation on Friday, May 21st, 7 o'clock, Doug Wadley Stadium. The capacity, when I work with staff at NSU, the capacity for the outdoor facility is 33%. So the home side is 33% and the guest side is 33%. And our number of students to project to graduate is 288. So we came up with 10 tickets per graduate, 8 to the home side and 2 to the visitor side to make it even, because you know, nobody wants that side, they all want to be over here, so we didn't know how to make that fair. We will set up exactly like we did last year. We're not going to be in the traditional way that we set up, but we'll be like last year. We're down on the south end of the field, and the stage will be there. We'll have an area where the Board of Education, we will sit. We'll have an area where some other students, and then we'll have that top 3%. We will be socially distanced on the field, and just about like what we were. We did get to go ahead, they allowed, last year they didn't allow the dome, but we will get to meet with the graduates only and just a few people. The teachers are already going to be stationed on the sides. And then we'll come out of the dome. I'm so terrible with north, south, and east, but we'll go north. And so the northwest corner of the actual football field, there's a little gate. I don't know if you've ever seen the gate there. The graduates will come and they'll go right down the end zone and come through the middle of the field and come up. So they will get to be able to walk in, which is, they didn't get to do that last year. Handicap will be down where it was last year on that home side. We cannot gather at the end, so people can't come down with their graduate on the field. They'll throw their hat. The whole time, Ms. Wilson will, when she starts the process, she'll let the crowd know exactly the expectations. She's already blasting it out everywhere, those expectations. When they come in on each side, whatever color of ticket that we come up with will be what side, if you're on home or visitor side. And we won't take temperatures this year. We'll have the signage that says, have you ever, or you've been recently exposed, and all of that. We will ask them to have their mask. We're not going to police them and tackle them if they don't have their mask on, but we're going to ask that they enter in those masks. The one new thing on the contract when I was working with Seth was contact tracing. And I was like, oh no. And he said, well, I said, tell us what do you mean? Because we don't have assigned seats. I mean, you're going to go in on this side and this makes them mingle. They will be every other row. Like last year, there were 2 rows, and then seating is every other row. Is what we're doing this year. And he said that you'll just use a QR code, and then we'll just either have those placed around as what they've done. And as a participant comes in, they just scan the QR code, and all they do is fill in their name and their number. We won't monitor and make it happen, but that is what they'll be told to do. And then that goes to a Google Doc. And in case they would say there was an outbreak or something, that Google Doc goes to Cherokee County Health Department. So we'll kind of have some form of fashion of that. Lacey, I want to let you, what other things are we doing for our seniors coming up?
I think you've hit it pretty well. That seniors will have a senior picnic.
Baccalaureate is going to be
Baccalaureate will be that Wednesday evening. They'll have a senior picnic. We're going to do a senior awards assembly. It will be social distance. Parents will be allowed to come, but we'll do a lot of the awards virtually because the whole school won't be there. So we're going to try to get creative with that. I know that they're talking to the elementary principals about possibly doing a walkthrough for them to be able to go to the elementary school that they grew up in and walk through. Masks, of course. We're trying to be so careful, but yet trying to give these seniors some of their opportunities, I guess.
So that's kind of our main thing that we're doing. And then at the end, they all planned, it's like one of our counselors said, once they knew they couldn't gather on the field, all the families and the seniors said, okay, we'll meet everybody at wherever. They knew where they wanted to meet. Some families were at the homes and they went. Some went down to, they said, the other little park down there, that Branham Park, took pictures. So it's not the best of worlds, but it's a lot better than even last year.
Yeah.
So we're just fortunate to have this great partnership with Northeastern State University. And
then we will have Save a Senior that night.
Yes, that night
at the school. So that'll be super fun. And thank you for
And where is that this year?
That will be at the high school, and we will just have it in different one area of the high school, but different rooms so that they can be spread out. And the hypnotist will be in the PAC where the kiddos can spread out and be able to enjoy that in there. So.
Have you heard anything about the parental prom or whatever? Have they had that, or are they?
They are working on it. It's going to be April 24th. I know, out at the Legacy. I believe. Is that right? I know they're working on it, and there are a lot of excited kids.
Thank you both for putting all that ready for us. And that is everything from superintendent's report.
Wendy, do we have any public to be heard?
No. My name is Lana Myers. I work with 4 children. Is it my time to speak or?
Have you signed
I
in?
don't have.
Oh, I didn't
anything
realize
out.
what the protocol was.
The name is cool.
Yeah.
I have one right here.
Like the Venus is working.
Let me have the the most recent. And there.
You have to spell out. Meeting starts, but go ahead and pull it out. You have a pen?
Yeah.
Sure, Chuck.
On the bill that devastating to us on the 3-year funding. I just wanted all of you to know and appreciate Senator Pemberton worked against that bill, voted no. Senator Stevens also voted no on that bill. Representative Holbert also voted no on that bill. Our teachers worked with those legislators worked with us. We just were not able to get central. So when you see those elected officials, let them know that you appreciate their effort.
Thank you. I'm gonna read something real quick, so you'll know what to do. You as the speaker, you're to move to the lectern up there. I'm being recognized by the board president and give your full name and address. The speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to address the board. The board and administrative staff will not respond to the questions or comments at the meeting. Okay, so go ahead.
Realize I violated protocol.
It's all right.
You're fine, don't worry about it.
We're
Like I
okay.
said, my name is Lana Myers. I've got 2 children in the school district. Address 11827 West 732 Road in Colbert. My kids transfer in every year. So I just want to say thank you, first of all, to Mr. Ashlock and the school board and all the staff for what you guys do for my kids. I know you just now took an oath to the Constitution, and I appreciate that. I'm sure you realize that these masks are unconstitutional. And from a medical standpoint, they're not needed. So I would like to really to have you consider to remove the requirement for my kids to be wearing masks at school. You know, cure rate for kids is 99.99%. Most of your staff are vaccinated now. Rates are going down. Masks are not good for children physically and mentally as well. So I'd like you to consider that. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay. Item K, discussion of vote to approve or not approve the following surplus.
Go ahead. I move to approve.
Second. Any discussion?
I don't know, Susan called there. I could use 2 or 3 of those.
I think you can buy them.
When we surplus these, is there any chance that these could go out to another school that's in need of a Susan following up?
There's always a chance. In most cases, our staff uses them until they're pretty much. But yeah, I mean, we've had instances where, schools, we've had surplus computers, and I've had some other school districts call and say, we need, Stillwell, a while back, they needed some new computers, and some of their coaches in the gym had computers run for weather. We had some that were perfectly fine. Have those, so, I mean, yeah, it's always an option, if somebody calls up, say, hey, do you have any of these, or any of this? But yeah, anytime we can get it out of our storage area or do something with it, we'll jump on that.
That'd be great.
And on the list, I'm for for the music, at least it says that they caused it. In our full agenda item, it has a picture of that, and says they can be used.
Somebody hit the bass drum a little too hard.
Any other discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I. Business items. Consent docket to approve or not approve.
I move to approve items L1 and 2.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Item M, discussion and vote to approve a one-time end-of-the-year stipend for all full-time TPS employees, certified support and administration in the amount of $2,000. For all half-time TPS employees, certified support and administration in the amount of $1,000 and a prorated amount for any employee who was not employed the full fiscal year.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
And then obviously this is, made possible again because of the federal funds come through. We wouldn't have been able to take $1 million hit at the end of the year to bonus. So again, that kind of assisted us with this, and there's no better time than this year. Everybody in this room, everybody in our class sites today, all of our teachers, bus drivers, principals, cafeteria staff, directors, everybody. It's been a difficult year for all of them, and everybody played an important role regardless of where they were at and what their title was. Money isn't everything, but it's nice to be able to give back a little bit whenever we have the opportunity. No specific science behind the 2,000. We want to do as much as we felt comfortable to do, and that was kind of the number that we arrived at. This will be paid as a separate payment on the next payroll in May. Kind of thought behind that. If somebody needed a vacation, they have a little bit of extra money to go do it. So we didn't want to wait till the end of the contract year to do that. I have met with the TEA and also spoke with Tesla ahead of time, make sure everything's clear as far as that goes. We're just excited to be able to give something back to our staff.
Is it still true that the superintendent is not included in this?
No, he is.
We did.
We just voted to approve him
It's on.
on the consent docket to let him,
You had to do a separate contract.
yeah.
Good.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad it did change.
Ready to vote? Ms. Walker? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Item N, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the revision of the following policy. Public to be heard.
And this is just a small revision regarding the state requirements for local meetings. So no big changes. We're just updating with our requirements.
I move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman? Ms. Walker? And I. Item O, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the following job descriptions. The board certified behavioral analysis and the help desk technician.
These are two current positions that we don't have on the books as of right now. The first one is the position we're writing for Ms. Van Zandt. The gentleman's looking at a possible grant that may pay for this type of position. So just kind of a preemptive, we're going to approve the job description. Doesn't mean we're going to hire one without the funding, but we may or may not. Now we'll have that on the books to be able to do that. The second one will be a new hire. Says help desk technician. This is going to be another technology assistant for Robert Curtis. I don't even know if double is a good word for our technology in the last couple of years, probably triple, quadrupled, and we still have two individuals that are responsible for maintaining all that. So they run kind of ragged. Everybody here does, but especially them with the technology. So we decided to go ahead and add a new position there, and we've been beneficial with them, and also the teachers, everybody who needs that help. So that will be a new position, a new general fund expense, but I think it's needed for the especially the direction that we're headed and all the technology that we've added. Will be a support position.
I move to approve.
Sean seconded that. So, Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And aye. Item P, motion, discussion, and vote to authorize or not to authorize the school district's attorney in consult, I can't say that. Yeah, thank you. With the superintendent of schools to initiate legal action against the Oklahoma State Board of Education to address the equalization of funding as set forth in the board's resolution approved at the board special meeting. That's the state school board special meeting.
That's the date.
Okay, March 25th, 2021.
And what this is, and I send out the legal document to you guys a little bit ahead of time so you can just review it. I don't know if the school or the state is not joining in this. Basically, and we talked about the House bill and the Senate bill that's already passed through legislation. We have no choice. This was a vote of the state board. And the specific vote is dealing with, I don't believe it's within their authority. It basically changes the funding formula, the way all schools are funded. They're looking to divide up the ad valorem, building fund, bond fund, and basically, any student, and it will hit, the Tulsa and Oklahoma City areas harder than anybody, but it will affect everybody because, with the online charter schools, we have those students, but then like the Tulsa, Oklahoma City area, they have charter schools that they sponsor. This will affect them in that manner too. Basically, you would divide up your ad valorem on a per student basis. This is how much all of your students are worth. So if we had X number of students go to K-12 or go to EPIC or wherever, now that extra money, not just the state money that they already get for that, go with them. Now we also would have to send that extra tax money. Now again, like I said, if the state legislature tells us this, we just have to deal with it. That's part of life. It is not in anybody's opinion on the school side that it's within the power of the state board to make that determination. So I'm asking you tonight just to allow the district to go in, the districts in the state, challenge that determination. That way we're on record as saying, hey, this isn't right. We need to make sure we double check it. We don't want the change to happen, but if it does happen, it needs to come through legislation, not through a vote of the board. So that's what you'd be approving tonight, is allowing the Catapult School District to take part with the other districts in the state.
John, would that be a class action?
No, this would be, the next one we talked about is kind of.
Just for the public on this, would you tell us what we anticipate our legal fees, because we are joining with lots of other schools that are using the same attorney?
Yes, right now they're telling us about $1 per student of your enrollment. So we'll be looking at around 3,500 where we are today. And then they did say once everybody joins, that number may come down. Once they know exactly how many schools and who's paying what. So it's still going to be $3,000, $4,000, but it'll be very worthy to spend that money to make sure that this does not happen to us anytime soon.
I move that we authorize the school district's attorney in consultation with the superintendent of schools to initiate legal action against the Oklahoma State Board of Education, et cetera, et cetera.
Second.
Any discussion?
And just, I think everybody knows, but Karen Long and our attorney group was Rosenstein, Fist, and Ringvote. So that's will be taken care of.
Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And aye. Item Q, discussion and vote to approve or not approve the attorney-client fee contract with Bronx Law Group, APLC, for the JUUL School District vaping lawsuit.
Oh, France.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. This is, I was contacted by this law group. We have, especially here, we have an issue. We've had to purchase vape detectors for every bathroom in the high school, middle school. And we recently got a box in today, vape detectors for Central Academy. This law firm has reached out, and they currently have about 23 other school districts. They vary from 6A down to Class B. This is kind of to your question that you asked earlier. This is a mass action lawsuit, which I didn't know that term before. I only heard the class action. Basically, this we won't have a whole lot of work into it. We're gonna have to give them our financial printouts of what we spent on anything regarding any type of smoking vaping. We'll also do a quick report on our discipline, that our counselors and principals, vice principals had to deal with. And we'll send that in. And they're basically gonna come up with a way to quantify the people time, the individuals that we employed, also with what we've spent. And then will become a part of this mass action lawsuit. If they win, and I'm not gonna pretend to say I know if they can or cannot. After I read through everything, if they win, we will get, I think our fees will be 20%. We would have to pay only if we receive actual money through the lawsuit. Then the attorneys would receive their portion. And if we get nothing, we pay nothing. So it's really a no-lose thing for us. So I figure why not and try to join in there, because we don't have to do a lot of individual groundwork on our end. And if it ends up getting a little bit of money, or at least paying for the vape detectors that we've already bought, then that will be a win as far as we're concerned. So I would like to just join in with this group. And if you'll approve that tonight, we'll get that started.
Before we go, I'm going to abstain from this because I am attorney for Church Nation, and Church Nation has one of these lawsuits against Joel as well.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's technically a conflict, but I'm not going to vote on this.
Okay.
Could you give me, maybe I'm not clear, but what are the details? I mean, what are they suing them for? Do they not, does the product not work? Or what's marketing?
Well, because now our kids are bringing their product to school and smoking them, going to their bathroom, they're smoking nicotine, THC. Yeah, and they're made to look like a little USB thing.
That's a company that makes them.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
thought it was a company that made.
And so they're basically made to help fool teachers, to look like it's not a fake thing. So that's why they're saying the company's at fault for intentionally doing that.
I'm not up on that.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Anybody want to say anything else? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Nebo?
Abstain.
And I. Item R, board to consider and take action on a resolution determining the maturity of and setting a date, time and place for the sale of the general obligation building bonds of the school district.
I have to say something. Dana has to read this resolution. Well, this is the actual resolution about that. She has to read that. I don't know why, but it's a legal thing.
I'm sorry. A resolution fixing the amount of bonds to mature each year, fixing the time and place the bonds are to be sold, and authorizing the clerk to give notice of said sale as required by law. Whereas the issuance of, is that 29,000? Million, 600,000, 60,000. Is that right? I'm sorry, Chuck. Of general obligation building bonds to Independent School District number 35 of Cherokee County, Oklahoma, and has been duly authorized at an election held on the 12th day of May, 2009 for that purpose. And whereas 22,500,000 of that 29,060,000 has previously been sold, issued and delivered, and the Board of Education of Independent School District number 35 of Cherokee County, Oklahoma now desires to sell a 13th installment of $2,560,000.
And this is the date I asked you about last month. This will be May the 26th at noon. And again, everybody said you can be here. If somebody can't make it, it's not a big deal. We just do have to make sure that we have a quorum on that day. And then either our president or vice president. But if we can all be here, great. Outside
What day is that, Liam? I'm sorry, do you know?
It's
a Wednesday.
Wednesday?
May the 26th, yes.
We would be reminded.
Yes, I will remind you. I'll give you a week heads up and then the day before.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Do Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, do I have any discussion? Ms. Nemo? Aye. Mr. Meyer? Myers?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Kaufman?
Yes.
Ms. Walker? And yes for me. Okay. S, discussion about to approve or not approve schedule of encumbrances.
I move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay, Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers? Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I. Okay, I need a motion to bring us out of executive session.
Motion, let the record show that we have returned from executive session at 7:51.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Ms. Walker? And I. We did not take any action during executive session.
I move to approve item W 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with under W1 for employment, Martin Vega Rivas for maintenance, grounds, facility, sanitation specialist.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Nemo?
Aye.
And I. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Wonderful. As a new board
Ms.
member.
Nemo?
Aye.
Mr. Myers?
Aye.
Ms. Kaufman?
Aye.
And Ms. Walker?
Aye.